up the back alley, jumped the back fence, ran in the house. Now, why I'm thinking she ain't gonna remember why I wasn't there when she left, I don't know why I'm thinking that. I don't know what kind of mental deficiency it is I think she got, but she ain't got it. She came on home with a pristine memory, and now she mad and she tired because them fuzzy slippers ain't really made for walking. So she came in the house and she was like, "Where were you?" And I was like, "Me? Where was I? I was here." She said, "Where were you, boy? And tell the truth." And it's the "and tell the truth" part to make you feel like you gotta tell the truth. Like she knows something you don't know. So I do what all kids do when you're caught in a lie. I just start crying. Just start praying that my daddy gonna come and save me. My dad is not that type of guy. It's not gonna happen that way, you know. My dad's more of a smoker and a drinker. He's that type of dude, you know. Me and my sister's here, you know. There she is. True story about our father. True story, when I was about 14, 15, 16. One morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, Daddy's passed out on the steps of the house. And I'm trying to get him up off the steps, get him into the house, up off the steps, get him into the house. In the course of doing this, I look out and notice that his van is parked perfectly in front of the house. So I look at him, I said, how did you get here? Did you drive here? How did you get here? Did you drive here? And he looked at me and he said to me with a straight face, "Of course I drove here. I am clearly too drunk to be out here walking." And so, that's how my dad thought. That's how he put things together. This was like, you know, his form of advice. So I scribbled out this poem. It's a new poem about some advice my dad gave me when I was coming up. Now, we're all in this together. Remember this. This is a group effort. This is a new thing. I'm gonna read it to you. And this is my dad actually, when I turned 12, him explaining to me some things about the facts of life when you have, you know, the talk. Did y'all ever have the talk where your parents sit down and have the talk with you? Yes? No? This didn't happen to you? This would explain why there's so many kids out in the world. Did this never happen to you? No? Didn't have the talk? Well, this is my experience with the talk. So this is this. Pop walked slowly into the room, pulled up and sat on a stool. I just turned 12. He turned to me and said, "Well, you're going to be a man soon. In the coming years, months, and weeks, you're going to get off in these streets and try to do some of the things a man would do. So let me be clear. I want to speak to you here about some of the things a man should do. It's time for me and you to have the talk." Now, I did not buck or balk. I'd been waiting for this, nay, praying for this day. I'd read some books that dealt and took some notes and felt I knew everything he was about to say. I'd read some pleasing words about the bees and birds, dialed some numbers I shouldn't have, fees incurred. Hit my brother's penthouses forum, chose my own adventure. I read a few penthouse forums. I'd venture to say that all this was going on around the same time I was sneaking into the living room late evening on the weekends to watch scrambled porn. Now, for those who don't know, scrambled porn was porn that even if you didn't pay for it, still kinda came on. It was still all kind of like interference in snow. You stare at it until it cleared for a millisecond or so, and a woman would let out a low throaty, "Oh." Then a flash or some flesh would go to show, and I didn't know if it was an elbow, an arm, or a tit, but all I knew is that I wanted to hump it. But bump it. In my young fevered mind, I just knew that things had to move on. So I said, "Bump it, let's skip to this week in school where they made all the boys sit next to one another and watch this old movie about a woman who by now was old enough to be someone's great-great-grandmother. But here in her youth, she didn't have the sense to make her lover use a rubber. And she had since uncovered and discovered that she had picked up herpes simplex 1 through 6. Now, you can forget Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, or Halloween. This was by far the scariest thing my young eyes had ever seen. She seemed to have white, crusty cauliflower for lips, and her privates nestling just between her hips would look like a boiling, festering oil slick. Several boys watched and passed out or just got sick, and one kid cursed his own self out for its wanton wickedness and promised to use his never-been-used stick. After a couple of views, we all vowed we'd choose to exclude ourselves from sex. We'd become monks next month. We'd just forget it. But by lunch, we were trying to hunch on the girls and play hide and go get it. And that's just how it goes. But now I'm staring at my dad as he supposes to lecture on the sexual lexicon. But little does he know it's me who's about to get this lecture on. Every kid wants to impress their parents, so I spoke with hubris about the pubis and mons veneris, about the labia and the way that the pubic hair is protection, about erections, when and where it's appropriate to display affections, the clitoris, uterus, the ratio, fellatio, ejection to ingestion, babies, boy or girl, epidural C-sections, foreskin, foreplay, condoms, any questions? Now he's staring at me and I'm guessing I've impressed him. Then he spoke sparingly and here began the lesson. He said, "Listen, this is something you won't learn in school. This is the talk that all black men have with their sons. Son, here are the rules. The police can pull you over when and wherever they choose. Hang your hands out the window and make no sudden moves. Never run from their bullets because they are faster and they are against you. Never run toward them because their laws run slower and they are against you. They hate black faces like an angry minstrel and will shoot you in the back during a chase until the pain and blood feel menstrual. Keep a cigar box beneath your bed. Keep a cigar box with bail beneath your bed for the night your wife has to come and get you. And know that the law views you as a fool, as disposable, as pitiful, as opposable, as minuscule. And when you have a child, you will sit with anger while you deliver the same speech I have just delivered to you. And that's something they would never teach you in school. Then he stood up from his stool and came as slowly as, and left as slowly as he came. He paused by the door and said, "Oh, and for sure, use a condom and don't bring home nothing, we got a name." I sat there staring at the floor with a look I can't explain, knowing I'd have to come to grips with this, live, persist, and exist with this, and understand that my real life was scarier than any old flick with a chick with herpes simplex 1 through 6. Thank y'all for listening to that. Oh, y'all so nice. Y'all so nice. Boy, that's that new. That's that new. All right, so, you know, that's my dad. Good guy, man. Used to give all kinds of wonderful advice. I'm sure y'all got wonderful advice from your parents. You would hear things coming up. Your parent might say something to you, you know, when you went to school, they say things